G'day, Shelter FootyCast live from BackChat Studios. That is the Southern River Band, boys, out of Thornley with our intro music as always. Great to be with you. shelterfootycast.com.au for all of your information. Keep that in mind because that is going to be where you need to go to let us know is the footy better with Shelter, and specifically a Shelter Stout. Skeeter, you are here for a Monday morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining me, William. Just always keeping an eye for when you do turn up. It's nice. I like it. Big weekend. Docker's good. Eagles back to some old habits, and some injuries around the place. There's a bit of a war of words between Ross Lyon and Damien Hardwick, and we've officially can say that Carlton are no good.
What are you off to today? Because you've dressed nicely. You've even got a pocket square in. So
no, I've got this, then I've got to go work at WA Footy, then I'm doing a radio show on 6PR, then I'm hosting a 16 and 18 jumper presentation for WA at Optus. So I thought I may as well just wear the one outfit the whole day. So I should get home about 9 o'clock tonight, so I'm looking forward to it.
I shouldn't bet, because you look good. You look great, actually. I shouldn't have a go.
No, I saw you actually. My daughter said she saw you I saw you as well. On Saturday, it's cold, it's wet, and you'd rather be anywhere than stand out in the middle of Optus when it was the weather was closing in. But you showed a lot of, you're a very brave soldier.
I was like a drowned rat. Like, it was so wet Saturday for our
I was so happy to see it as well.
I had a security guard have the gall to tell me I couldn't put my umbrella up. And I just put my head out under my umbrella and I said, listen here, mate, umbrella's staying up. You want to march me out of here? Speak to Fox Footy because I'm not going to have a boundary rider. It was so wet, mate. It was so wet.
It was even cold in the commentary box, I'll tell you.
You idiot. You absolutely.
No, I'm true. It was cold, and I had, because my wife went to the footy, and I actually got out at about 10 o'clock because, we do an hour and a half review on 6PR of the footy, and went back to the car and went, Jesus, I had admiration for all 40,000 people, most of those, of course, who are in the elements, who gutsed it out.
Very good, Skater. Welcome to the Shelter FootyCast, where WA's best footy show and WA's best beer combined to bring you the biggest footy news and reviews from round 11 or 12.
It's 11, I think.
Okay, very good.
But, don't take us as that being gospel.
Hey, we will get through this in a little bit, Skate, but I'm just letting everyone know, is the Shelter better with Stout? Jump on shelterbrewing.com.au, use the code STOUT20, and you can get your Stout, and you can tell us, is the footy better with a Stout in hand, Skate? We'll get into that in a little bit. So make sure you got that in mind. If you don't have your Stout, go and grab it right now. Okay, Skate. It's a while ago now, but Thursday night, how did you see Kane Cornes v Luke Beveridge pre-game? Is there a little bit of Schofield about it or not?
There's a lot of Will Schofield about that.
I feel like you would have been thinking that's something Schofield would do, staunching around.
You're talking about the way Kane sort of stood there.
Postured up a bit?
Yeah, postured up. And, I've got a bit of sympathy for Bevo, because if you are the coach of a footy club and you feel your club's getting whacked, and absolutely, if it was you and I was the coach, I'd be saying a couple of things on the way through. Listen, and I like Bevo. He's going into bat for his team, and Kane takes swipes at a lot of people, so he enjoys that. He enjoys the notoriety, he enjoys the focus. I have no idea what was said, but I'm guessing that Bevo didn't offer out an olive branch.
I try to go harder at bigger entities. I don't go too hard at I probably put West Coast in the barrel the most, but I'm not calling out clubs and players too much. It's more the AFL and the amount.
Yeah, I know. But look, I think the thing with Bevo, maybe it has been player driven, where thinks that Kane has maybe been zeroed in on players. He said on 7 on Thursday night, it's no secret that I don't have a great relationship with the Bulldogs. So there's probably 3 or 4 clubs, including North Melbourne, that are in that boat. So he's got a broadening church.
Yeah, correct. That was a good game, though. I enjoyed it.
Good game of footy, really good, high scoring. Bulldogs, let's be honest, I tipped the Cats. They win the game. Bulldogs should have won it. Bulldogs should have won that game, but for their inaccuracy and their inability to put a score on the board when it mattered in the second half, and they didn't do that. And conversely, the Cats were good.
Yeah, you could probably say that Geelong. We've heaped the praises on Collingwood over the last few weeks for can't get it done inside 50s, but take their chances. Geelong took their chances.
They find a way. So, no, total credit. But I didn't think that the Bulldogs lost any fans while they went about it.
Bit going on in coaching land at the moment. So, this is the biggest coaching story out of the weekend. Ross Lyon called Gold Coast Suns the AFL Nepo babies. Yeah. I've got to be honest. I look at that sentence. I don't really know what's a nepo baby. Like a bit of a bit of gifted, bit of love around it. I don't really know what it is.
I would suspect that the way he was talking about I've been giving him a little bit of extra treatment. A bit like you, if you were, treating Sid a bit more, a bit more generously than Nash, given more love. Yeah, that's the basically given more advantages, and that's we're talking academy and everything that goes with it.
So post game, Hardwick was asked about it. It was it was pretty quick after the game. It was the post-match press conference. So I would say, their media manager's doing their job at Gold Coast because he knew about it. It wasn't like he was like, it's the first time.
Because bear in mind, for those that didn't see it, I think Ross made this comment pre-game, didn't he?
Yeah.
As a light-hearted, sort of bit of a joke, but also a little clip.
Yes. Damien Hardwick's not watching the coverage. No. He's coaching his team. So to turn it around and know about it, because he guaranteed knew about it, when he returned serve with, perhaps St Kilda should focus on their own backyard. Only 13,000 people here today. It was the lowest crowd Saints have ever had at Marvel Stadium.
Is that right?
So that was the clip back.
Yeah, look, the media manager might not have had that up his sleeve, to be fair, because Dimma, we know his history with Marvel Stadium. He's pretty good on the lip as well. Yeah, so he may have just had that off the top. But either way, it's a bit of theatre for a game that really, with the Suns, to be fair, they're playing finals now. I think of the last, 48 times that a team has started with this record, is it 8-2 or thereabouts?
Yes.
45 of them or 46, they've gone and played finals, and really they should be looking at top 4 now.
Yeah, correct. Skeeter, would be remiss of me to do a bit of this news of the weekend without touching on some tribunal issues. The biggest one, the biggest one, Alex Pearce has been offered 3 weeks for the bump on Darcy Byrne-Jones. How did you see this one? We were both at this game. How did you see it? Before I get into it,
I know I get a feeling where you'll go on this part. I'm not surprised he was suspended. I'm not surprised, given that the way that it unfolded. I've had great sympathy for him. And look, you're better to talk about a backman like Alex Pearce in this position, but the end result, and having spoken to someone from Walyalup yesterday, the Dockers, they were expecting a suspension. They'll probably challenge it. But realistically, they know that it's in that 2 to 4 week period of time on the sidelines.
But why? So you're unsurprised. The Freo expected. I can understand why you both.
Eyes off the ball. So at one point there was eyes went off the ball to the play, which can happen.
Let me speak a bit. I'll speak about the actual action and how it happens as a player, and this is why frustration, confusion, and genuine non-clarity from the AFL is happening. Alex Pearce is running at the ball. This happens in about 2 seconds, by the way.
Oh, no, everyone knows that.
Yeah, so it's just going to go for longer than 2 seconds. But, he makes the decision to press. The ball's a 50-50 when he goes. You might even think as a player that it's in your advantage. That's why you go. You're I'm going to get to this ball. About a metre, you've already left the ground.
And bear in mind, the pace he's going at, you're not ambling towards his footy.
No. This is flat out, and Darcy Byrne-Jones is going flat out, eyes on the footy. You left the ground and your eyes are on the ball, and then as you're in that action, in the space of about 0.2 of a second, you kind of go, I don't know if I'm going to get this or not. Your eyes don't stay on the ball. You can't control your eyes. Your eyes are just looking at moving things. Darcy Byrne-Jones comes into vision. You're not going to just watch the ball and, ignore everything else around you. So, of course, his eyes goes to Darcy Byrne-Jones, but his sole intention was the ball. He didn't press to make physical contact with Darcy Byrne-Jones. The decisions are made too quickly, and that is why outcome over action in this case, because the action is not a poor one. The action is a defender trying to impact a footy, and Darcy Byrne-Jones, unfortunately, has been concussed, knocked out, and it's outcome-based. It's not action-based. This isn't something we want out of our game, because what this does as a precedent is, I saw Bob Murphy talk about it, and he said it perfectly. It's going to make players stop from making physical contact, and it might be marking contests.
We see it already.
It might be tackling contests. It might be whatever it is.
We see it regularly. And whether it's, I remember a case, Darcy Moore, it might have been against the Dockers. he noticeably pulled up, and players are doing it, and this is to protect the player, but also they know the consequences if they're late. So I've got great sympathy for the players. I don't think Alex Pearce, he knew at the end of the game that he was in trouble, that he'd go, and given that Burn-Jones was concussed, all of the above. And look, your argument is 100% sound, but that's just the way the competition's going now.
Yes, but it doesn't have to be. They don't have to rule on outcome. And to be honest, for the last 3 weeks, they haven't been ruling on outcome. But this is a pure outcome decision. If Darcy Burn-Jones gets up, takes his kick, is all good, it'll be 1 week for the exact same action. But because of the outcome, he's got 3 weeks. This should be a 1 weeker. I understand they're trying to get this out of the game. This should be 1 week. You did the outcome was poor, but we understand how the action happened. We've got a bit of flexibility in what we're doing. Here's 1 week. I don't think anyone could complain with that.
Yeah, well, Justin Longmuir in his press conference, as you do as a coach, you sell the narrative that he thought it was a footy action, all of the above, and sort of mirroring a bit of what you had to say. Whether Ken Hinkley felt the same way as coach of Port, I'm not sure. I'm not sure he was asked about it. But no, I hear you. I understand your frustration. But that is just the way it is at the moment, and unfortunately, it's not changing in the short term.
Yeah, well, I don't like those sort of sentences. Oh, that's just the way it is. I'm just going to keep beating my drum, Skeeter, until it bloody changes. Giant Newcombe, $10,000 fine.
10,000. What did he do?
I don't know.
Oh, seriously, I don't know. I saw the 10,000. Went. He must have shown his willy or something. What did he do?
It's his fifth offence. Rough conduct. So I assume it just doubles and doubles and doubles.
Who's got? So Zach Butters is in the grand final, isn't he? Yes. And Toby Green, I think, are both putting basically their life savings into the AFL. We speak about this a little bit. $10,000 is $10,000. That's big dollars.
It doesn't matter what you're on. Like that's coming out. So yeah, it's an early plea will have him $6,250. So I haven't seen the incident either, Skeeter, but we'll keep an eye on that. All right, let's keep moving. Will Schofield, Mark Redding, Shelter FootyCast. All right, well, you're up 100, defeated Yatapulti 51, Optus Stadium in a wet and soggy affair. I think my suit's still in the car out the front. My shoes are in there, they're soaked. I don't know how to fix any of those.
Yeah, well, it's wet weather game, isn't it? That's winter for you, I suppose, Scully. And a lot of fans will be saying, Scully, we sit out in the rain each and every week and cop it, and we've just got a little poncho there, no umbrellas, so they just suck it up.
So am I?
You've been precious, yeah. And if I was down there, I'd have been even more precious.
Oh, boy. Freo kicked 9 goals to 2 in the second half. To be honest, it looked like they had control of this game. They weren't taking the most of their opportunities early, and that's why the scores were kind of level. But they put foot on throat sort of areas, Freo, and you got to like the way they defended. Port Adelaide at three-quarter time, I don't know how the game ended, but at three-quarter time, Port Adelaide had 10 more inside 50s than Fremantle.
Well, it ended up pretty much even 56 to 55 in favour of Port. So let me say this.
They defended well.
They did. I would suggest that, given what we've seen, Port is cooked. So
yep.
They're done for the year. The question now is whether Ken Hinkley steps aside prior to the end of the home and away season and Kari comes in and takes over, which that narrative will continue. So that has to be put in place. That being said, Walilup did exactly what they had to do, dominant second half, and they can now launch their season effectively off the back of a couple of really important wins, Giants, now Port Adelaide, and then Gold Coast Suns, the test, a bye, and then 3 very winnable matches with North, Essendon, St Kilda in that mix, all at Optus Stadium. So, yeah, it was a professional win, one that I thought they should win, and should win comfortably because of the outs as well for Yatapulti. And Luke Jackson continues to give us an example of why he should be used more often than not in the ruck.
Yeah, he's... Look, I asked him straight up whether he loves being the number one ruck, and he said, yeah, absolutely love it.
He's been very public. Just said it on 6
He's very honest. Yeah, he's honest.
I'm not sure whether that's a message to the club, to Sean Darcy, to himself, but I suppose
we just want the honest answer, don't we?
No, he's giving an honest answer, which I suppose Justin Longmuir now has to make a decision, although I don't think Sean Darcy's going to be back playing AFL, I would have thought, till well after the bye. Yeah,
he's going to be away for a little bit. I spoke to Murphy Reid after the game as well. He's a ripper. I don't know how much. Have you had much to do with it? Never spoken to it? Mate, he's a genuine...
character?
Yeah, and very, not like confident or arrogant, just like very, just pretty comfortable in front of the camera and mic. Like for a young man, like
a lot of them are though. I mean,
I just kind of got the vibe. He's just a real natural and really happy-go-lucky guy. Almost a bit of country vibes about him. He's kicked 4 goals. He's got the headband hanging out of his. I don't know. I really, really liked the vibes I got of him. He's living with Andy Brayshaw, he said.
Well, you know what? If you're going to find someone to give you a bit of guidance in life, I wouldn't have thought he'd be a bad start.
Geez, it was some of the things he did, though. Like those 4 goals, a couple of them were very, very good goals. Like one step, knows his way around goals.
They've got all the ingredients there when you think of it. I mean, with Dudley as a support act inside 50, Murphy Reid there, the 2 bigs, Pat Voss just doing whatever he wants to do inside that sort of area and creating chaos. But Amos, Tracy, it was a tough night for the forwards, to be honest with you.
That's not your key forwards day, is it?
No, exactly. But they've got a lot of the ingredients there. So it remains to be seen what they can do with it. And I would suspect that with Pearce coming out, Josh Draper wasn't great against Perth in the waffle for Peel, but he might well get an opportunity this week.
Spoke to Sonny Walters on the sideline before the game. He said he's probably a couple of weeks away.
It's a bone bruise on his knee.
Yeah, he said
quite sore.
He's had a few sort of setbacks and it's quite frustrating for him, but he said he's 2 weeks away from, I assume, waffle.
Yeah, waffle, and then I'm not sure Nat Fyfe in that same boat. But people are saying, why are these guys going around? Well, the opportunities may well present themselves in the next 2 to 3 months at the back end of the season. And if you can call up Michael Walters or Nat Fyfe, who are primed and ready to go, then the Dockers are in decent shape.
Kawana, Adelaide defeated Woolwich Murrawa 128-62 Adelaide Oval. How'd you see this one, Skeeter?
No, I didn't see a lot of it. In fact, I saw none of it. Can I be totally honest with you? Because I was down at Lewin for a telethon lunch, raising a lot of money for the kids.
Oh, excuse me.
It was, mate. Seriously, a lot of money for the kids. It was. I defy anyone to sit and listen to a lady, Nicole Jamison, whose son has childhood dementia, and and he's not long for this world. And you've got young kids. I've got. It is heartbreaking to hear the stories. And that being said, the money that was raised was an anonymous donor of $3 million at this lunch. Our good mate Frankie Agostino from Paywise just thought he'd drop about 100 G on an Audi thanks to Bronte Housen. So he just went whooshka. So yeah, a lot of wealthy people, and then there was me.
Were you hosting?
I was doing some of the auction. Ryan Daniels, myself, and Tina Altieri and Tiny Holly. But yeah, Barrow was there. Yeah, but I felt... I'm looking for my $5 notes, and they're pulling out $5,000 at a pop. It's just classic.
Can I get 5? It's like $5 mil. I meant $5.
Oh yeah. So I on the plane back, sort of champagne, I had a couple of cheeseburgers. Yeah, that's all there. No, they gave you cheeseburgers at the airport from McDonald's. Yeah, it was great. Mate, they're on the gas from 7:30 in the morning. Anyway, so I saw nothing of the. Although I do know that fell away second half. Jake Waterman's injury significant.
Yep.
Eagles in trouble in terms of their forward setup now, and yeah.
Well, yeah. Look, they are. At least they've got a couple of games back into Oscar Allen as a forward, and they've got the 2 young guys in Archer Reid and Jack Williams that they'll just now have to blood. Yeah, that'll be close to I just reckon close to season done for Jake Waterman. Like there's only 13 weeks left.
So you're looking at the 2 All-Australians from last year from that football club, Jay McGovern, Jay Waterman. Both, well, question mark certainly on McGovern and Waterman. He'll want to come back and play the back end of the season, but you're probably right. So that's massive. That's just massive for this team who have shown a bit at times, but they took a step backwards yesterday, and I have some fears just because of personnel what they'll be able to deliver.
Yeah. Oh, look, to be honest, Skate. Well, I think it's hard to say they took a step back because you didn't see the game, but...
well, you beat by 67 points after winning by 30.
Yeah,
it's a step back slightly.
Yeah, so they were pretty close at half-time. Their effort and intensity was good for that first half, so I think that's probably a step in the right direction. Adelaide's a top 4 side, and I was concerned halfway through the third. I did watch this one that it was going to be a 100-pointer. So it turns into an 11 goal.
We're getting a bit. I'm not trying to be rude here, but the acceptance of 11 goals.
Well, I think it's the reality, mate. West Coast are the worst side in the competition, and Adelaide's a top 4 side.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think Adelaide will finish top 4. That's just my gut feeling. But no, as it stands, they are, and you're right. I just think sometimes the way it rolls off the tongue now, 11 goals, it's sort of, could have been 100 points. Just I know where you're coming from, but gee whiz,
their first half was pretty good. Their last quarter was okay. Adelaide in the third quarter had 23 inside 50s for 7 goals, 7. So that's 14.
Reasonably efficient.
14 scoring shots from 23. That's what they'll need to get out of their game, West Coast, if they're going to get any better. They didn't have too many winners across the ground. And I think with Jake Waterman out, it just... it's going to expose a level of non-leadership. He's turned himself into a really good leader. You speak to him every week on 6PR. I'm not sure if that'll continue with his arm in a sling and
Hope so.
After some surgery, but he's been really open and honest on your program on Wild World of Sports. And I think on the field, he's a real leader. So I don't think the performance element is as big of a loss as it is leadership-wise. And if you actually look at both teams here in Western Australia, Fremantle was the youngest side in the comp on the weekend, and they have been for most of the year. That's not saying they're just playing kids. It's saying they don't have the top-end guys. They don't have a 300 gamer out there. I don't think they had a 200 gamer out there on the weekend. So why that's relevant is, and it's relevant to West Coast in this discussion, is when you've got young players and you've got young players from 0 to 75 games, the guys that have been there from 200 to 300, or 150 to 250 probably more realistically, like they're the guys that show the leadership that then when you're playing from 0 to 75, you watch them and you hear them and you watch their direction, and on-field calls get made by those guys. When you don't have that, it's difficult to alter momentum in games. So that's what Jake Waterman will be for West Coast. Less about performance. Yes, he's a great player. I realise that, but he's not going to change games off his own boot all that often. It's his leadership that they'll miss, Skeeter. So, yeah, that's probably where both teams are at right now.
Yeah, and Eagles have Geelong to come Sunday night as part of the long weekend. So it doesn't get easier, but you're right. They are the worst performing side in the competition. Ladder says that. And they're probably destined for another wooden spoon. And some of that, of course, Andrew McQualter's having to work through the injuries and no Yo, no McGovern, no Waterman. It's been pretty tough.
Okay, there we go. That is West Coast and Freo. Time to get into Is the Footy Better with Shelter? And over the next couple of episodes, we're asking, is the Footy better with a Shelter Export Stout? Skeeter, have you still got the taste of it in your mouth?
Yeah,
I rewatched it. Your eyes were twitching.
It was 8:15 in the morning.
Yeah, correct. So make sure you go and get your stout from online at Shelter right now, shelterbrewing.com.au. Use the code STOUT20. It'll be delivered to your door. I didn't really mention that on Thursday. To your door. If you order today, it'll be with you before the footy on the weekend, especially with a Sunday game, especially with a long weekend. Time to get it in. And all we are asking for you is to tell us whether the footy is better with a export stout. If it's worse, tell us. Like, I genuinely want to hear it. I want to know if it's better, sure. But if it's worse, you let me know as well. Every beer that we do, we're giving away a prize pack over $800 worth in value, a night's accommodation at the Hilton Busselton, a bottle of Credaro wine, 2 bars of Otto's chocolate, dinner and beer at Shelter Brewing for 2 people, burgers and beers at Golf Par 3 for 2 people, and a carton of Shelter of your choice, Skeet. All you have to do is let us know, is the footy better with Shelter? Jack has got in early, Skeet. He's sent us an email at hello@backchatpodcast.com.au. You can send us an email at Shelter FootyCast at backchatstudios.com.au. FootyCast at backchatstudios.com.au, or go to Shelter Brewing. Go to, how am I going, Skate? How am I going?
No, I'll tell you what.
What?
A 30-second live read. This is a very good promotion for the stout.
Shelterfootycast.com.au, and there is a form there called Is the Footy Better?
And you said you had some feedback, is that right?
Hey, boys, I believe a stout would make particular aspects of footy better. Specifically, if I had a dozen stouts, Skeeter's commentary on 7 actually might be somewhat informative and worth listening to. Might unmute my TV. Maybe Skeeter should have half a dozen stouts while he watches West Perth, and they might actually win a premiership. Cheers, boys. Jack, he's got the West Perth one.
Yeah, good on you, Jack, you absolute clown. Yeah, good on you, Jack. If you're going to have a pot of me, get your facts right, you absolute imbecile.
What did he get wrong?
Well, West Perth. I don't barrack for West Perth. You don't get no idea. Go back and watch Scully in the rain for Fox do his best work there. Talk Swahili.
Jack, got to be honest, mate. You're right on the money there. You're absolutely smack bang on the money. That's
and you've been listening to any of the 7 commentary, have you? Just for a critique?
No. No. Don't take it personally.
Hang on, he's having a crack at me about West Perth. I didn't barrack for West Perth.
I thought that's the more offensive part. Don't worry about your commentary.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, who cares? Very good. So send them in. Let us know if the stout makes the footy better.
Jack you. Seriously.
Very good. All right, let's get into it. Will Schofield, Mark Redding, Shelter FootyCast.
Why have to crack me all the time? Why can't they have a go at you?
Have a go at me. Send them in.
He talks more crap than I ever do.
Yeah, correct. Just go to shelterfootycast.com.au. There's a form there. Send it in. Let us know. You can win that prize. $800. Geelong 127 defeated Western Bulldogs 113. GMHBA Stadium Thursday night. We saw this one. I could not believe that that Western Bulldogs did not go at Bailey Smith. Like they would clearly know more than me, and they've obviously made the decision. So you can go one of both ways here. You go really physical and really mental and just abuse and bash and all of that, or you do the complete opposite and you don't even look at him. You sort of ignore him, and that's the decision.
They were in between the two because I didn't really. I mean, there was a bit of. I tell you what, I reckon it was a 7 game, wasn't it? So yes. Whoever had the camera, there was every second shot was of Bailey Smith. Just whatever he was doing, the camera was following him. Yes. And look, you weren't far off the mark. To be totally honest, he said he wouldn't have played the game. There's some contrasting talk about whether he would and wouldn't have, but Chris Scott saying didn't know there's anything wrong with him.
Well, I can't believe that.
And Bailey Smith saying, well, I had to be injected in my shin to get myself up for the game. So the fact he didn't train during the week, I think you probably weren't far off the mark. He said he wouldn't have played except it was against the Bulldogs. He ended up with 33 disposals. Max Holmes was enormous. He's a real player, isn't he? 33 as well. Great game of footy. We saw 240 points kicked in the game, which I know we don't need to be seeing those sorts of numbers every game, but it's good to watch. Get players kicking bags, high scoring affair, 33 scoring shots to 27 Bulldogs way. That's where I felt last quarter, they led, I think, at the start of the last quarter, but just could not put the Cats away. And that's credit to Geelong, but also the inefficiency of the Dogs. They ended up kicking 3 goals, 4 in the last quarter. But I haven't lost faith in them. I think they're a pretty good side, and I don't think losing, even though they had a good record down there previously, I don't think losing to the Cats under those circumstances is the end of the world.
You might think that this is a Marvel Stadium game, and maybe they win that one, like the Geelong sort of home ground advantage maybe gets them over the line. Jeremy Cameron, Shannon Neal, huge with 6 and 5 goals apiece. Bailey Smith was huge. That's why I think they got that wrong.
Yep.
And I think most teams are getting it wrong, and by not paying him the respect that he deserves, he's the leading possession getter in the league, and he's second favourite in the Brownlow, and no one goes near him. So whether or not you can or you can't, I mean, the Nick Dacos argument gets used all the time. No one can tag him. Well, they can. We've seen players do it. It's just whether or not teams want to, and they want to take someone out of the game to go and take him out of the game. I think he's got to the stage where you need to go and do that against Geelong, because probably they don't have the superstars in their side. And if you take one of them out of it, you're probably a better chance of beating them, but they couldn't get it done against their best players. Like, to have Jeremy Cameron kick 6 and Bailey Smith to have 33, I don't know if you're going to win many games if both of those.
And Shannon Neal, terrific with him, young West Aussie who, I mean, let's be honest, the shadow of Tom Hawkins still lingers at the ground and in the side, and he's finding his way. Good body, big boy. He's one that I'm sure they'd like to really see continue that evolution.
He's different to Tom Hawkins.
Oh, absolutely.
But he is also someone that can develop into a Tom Hawkins. Like, he's a big unit. Started seeing him jump at his marks.
Athletic, yeah.
Yeah. I like him a lot. All right. Happy with that one, Skeet?
Yep, well done. We both tipped the Cats, I think.
Just on tipping. You're going to be disappointed this week, Skeeter.
Because you've just jagged a few, have you?
Oh, I got 7.
Yeah, I got 7 as well. I changed mine late yesterday.
I got 7 with exact margin.
Well done.
Yeah, so I got 14 points on the Thursday night game. I missed one yesterday. Can't remember. Sydney? Yeah, I missed Sydney.
Yeah, I changed my tip late on that. Melbourne. You
picked Melbourne?
I tipped and I'm back. I tipped them and I had investment on them, yeah.
And I picked Hawthorn. I picked Hawthorn. I picked Hawthorn too. So I've moved up 30 spots, so I just gained back $300.
Well, there you go. So you're only down, what, $1,500 or something?
No, 2,000.
2,000, there you go.
Yeah. Just remember, when you buy those stouts with Stout 20 on shelterbrewing.com.au, that is out of my own pocket, Skeeter, those $20.
No, I understand. That's why I'm laughing.
Essendon 81 defeated Richmond 58, MCG Friday night. Nick Martin was very good in this one, best on ground, 35 disposals and 2 goals. Zach Merritt was very good as well. Look, Essendon fans are going to be happy. You won a game, Dreamtime of the G. I just didn't think it was a very convincing win.
And look, it's hard for Bombers fans to hear this, but their victories are against sides that are not very good this year. Let's be honest.
Yes.
They're not winning against the better sides, but that's where they're at. And their injury toll's getting quite significant. It's getting very significant with regards to. And bear in mind, we might touch on this. The mid-season draft is 2 days away. What they do on that basis, because they may well need to go to the mid-season draft to replenish their stocks.
Yeah.
Zach Reid being one that is
they're tall critical stocks, right?
Yeah.
Like they have their ruck coach playing in the ruck for them.
Which is not ideal.
No, it's not. And then they've lost Reid. They lost Langford, who's not even a tall, but he has to play tall for them. I did see a report with Matt Rose's face on it that the AFL and Essendon are investigating if they pick someone up in that mid-season draft, which is this week.
It's on Wednesday, yeah.
So they play Thursday?
Yes, so there's talk on X about how that plays out with their list. Can they put, for instance, a player who's picked up in the draft on the Wednesday into the side on Thursday?
Yeah,
which
so
they play.
That's what they're going to try and do. They've come out and said that that's what's going to happen. They've got 4 picks in that draft because of all their injuries. So they're going to go and they're going to go and I reckon 3 of those 4 are tall players. They're best tall players around the country who have nominated. So that'll actually be interesting to see what happens. Imagine getting drafted. That's what it is. Like, I know it's a mid-season, but drafted to an AFL side and you play for them next day.
Next day. It's in that Marlon Pickett sort of space.
You wouldn't know blokes' names.
No.
And blokes certainly wouldn't know yours.
But by the same token, Hutchinson came across similar. Well, he did play one game, didn't he? Kick 5 for West Coast up in Northam against Perth. So, yeah, I can't think of any.
The next day is a bit hard. You wouldn't even have your gear there because, like.
They'll already be in Queensland.
Yeah, correct. But like captain's runs on the Wednesday morning, like he won't have done captain's run. You just lob up there, g'day guys, I'm playing today. It's like local footy, calling Jono up from the twos. It's going to be really interesting. Can I just say one thing? And I just want to preface this, and if we put this on socials, this needs to be included. This is not about Sam Lawler. I'm not having a go at Sam Lawler. But I sure as hope that the heat is on Sam Lawler as it is Harley Reid. And again, this is not about Sam Lawler. This is about the types that want to go and put heat on Harley Reid. Number 1 draft pick.
That's all it is.
Number 1 draft pick.
That's all it is. The reason is because of that number.
So, again, not about Sam Lawler, but I watched his game on the weekend. He had 2 touches and he got subbed out with a hamstring, and the hamstring was in the 3rd quarter. If Harley Reid did that, he would be on the pages here. He'd have people over in Melbourne going, when's he going to come home? He's clearly upset. I almost don't hope the heat is on Sam Lawler. I just would expect people that have been having to go at Harley Reid to be going hard at Sam Lawler. I wonder if they will or not, Skate.
Well, I hope they don't, for the fact that maybe just
He's a young player?
He's a young player learning the game. And Harley's not having a great year this year. He's had some good moments, but he's learning the caper. It's his 2nd year, and we have thrust a lot of, and other media, have thrust a lot on him and expectations and our demands. But, and dare I say it, if he was in a better side, his life would be a far lot easier.
Yes, we are in the media. I just don't know if we're very good sometimes. GWS 110 defeated Carlton 82. Marvel, good win by GWS, but probably as advertised this one, Skeeter. I don't think Carlton are all that good. But GWS needed to bounce back after their effort against Fremantle the week before. Toby Green was prolific in his 250th. 28 touches, 13 score involvements, 3 goals, 3 behinds. He's gone another level for the milestone. Yeah, or they looked after him a bit.
Well, no, I think almost, if you're going to think of a player that's going to stand up, and given what they dished up the previous week, it was Toby, and that's Brownlow medal territory there in terms of votes for this game. Yeah, the biggest story, apart from the fact that good win to the Giants, is Carlton. Where they are at, I think you look at their last 16 games. I think they've won
It's not very good.
It's not good, and the ladder doesn't lie, and the results don't lie. They are not that good, and that's a concern for Michael Voss. It's a concern for Graham Wright, who's going to come in, and there's some real changes required at Carlton at the back end of this year, because I don't see them playing finals.
Carlton were plus 11 in inside 50s in the game, not just parts of this game. They won inside 50s by 11, but went at under 40% efficiency inside 50. So they can't connect with these superstar forwards that they have. So the skill level's not good enough.
I think, I don't know if we've said this before, but I think we know their best players in Carlton are very good.
Yeah.
I think if you look at the list going down to your, say, players 12 through 22 or whatever it is, their depth is not great, and their list isn't as good as, the top end's great, but they do drop away.
Brisbane 93 defeat Hawthorn 60 at the MCG Saturday. Arvo, my prediction that Hawthorn go on a run and win their next 4 against big opponents looks to be in the bin before it started.
The Hollywood Hawks have turned into a B-grade midday movie.
What's that? That's not bad from you.
What is? They have, and you know what? There's a couple. I remember sitting in the box on Saturday, and a few people were just getting quite happy that Sam Mitchell, who's sort of pretty self-assured, that maybe just a little bit of a pinprick on the big balloon that is Hawthorn at the moment, and they do strut a bit, and which is great,
which is always the danger. So. If you peacock around, which I think we've sort of grown to love from Hawthorn, because they have sort of walked the walk.
Yeah, well,
they have.
Yeah, they have. But you're saying you like to. Yeah. By the same token, there's not a lot of sympathy for Hawthorn outside of the club, because they're not like they're a club that's been in the wilderness. They've had a pretty good time of it.
Yeah, but like that's the team that they're putting themselves up to be. Like, they're not trying to be, I guess, nondescript like a Geelong maybe is. Or I'm just trying to think of sides that are good that don't really carry on like that.
But you've got to have characters in that side to pull it off, and they've been good in that area. But at the weekend, and Sam Mitchell, he let his frustrations out. We saw him give the hoarding behind him a bit of a crack. But they were beaten by a side that was too good, and team, I think they now realise they're a step behind in Brisbane.
Yeah, well they are. So I wonder how much they sort of they're one game back from them. I was looking at the ladder now. Brisbane are on 8 wins. Hawthorn are on 7. Brisbane kicked 7 goals to 2 in the second quarter, so that's game over. If you let a side like Brisbane kick 5 more goals in a quarter, you cannot beat them. Like, you're not playing a mid-range side. The Brisbane are arguably the best in it with Collingwood. So
I think they're the two standouts, aren't they?
That's who you're coming up against. So I'm not overreacting to it. Did I say they were going to win the next 4? Yes, I did, and that's in the bin.
I think the upside for them, as you say, is that where are they in 5th? Did you say?
Yeah, 6th.
6th position.
That's equal 4th.
I don't think they've played anywhere near as well as what they did during stages at back end of last year. So you're right. They're for a team that's not going that well, they've still got time to address that. Conversely, anything Zorko footy he got on the weekend, Lockie Neal again, and Callum Mills been a really handy goal kicker.
Brisbane's backline don't get enough credit, mate. So this is led by Harris Andrews, Jack Buckley medalist last year. They kept Gunston, Watson and Chol goalless. So Gunston leads the goal kicking. We saw what Watson did the week before, and Chol has had a very good year this year, goalless, all of them. Jack Payne, Lester, Zorko's their attacker, but they've got guys that just get a roll done and they're no fuss.
So Harris Andrews is the big name, with Zorko as as you say, the attacker, but there's a sort of an underrated group of players behind Andrews that get the job done. So that's a good point.
Just remember, backs win premierships, and about these midfielders and forwards. It's not that hard. We saw Alex Pearce kicked a goal on the weekend. It's not that hard. Right? He's not a goal kicker. He just goes on and slots it from 50. The amount of forwards we're seeing spraying out in the full, right? It's not that hard. It's about backs. The game's about backmen. Collingwood, what are you laughing at?
It's just like, that's fine. I love the fact you're loyal to your tribe.
How's Pav on Fox Footy regularly tries to inject himself as a backman? Well, that's my thing, right? Because I'm basically nothing without it. And so I just, because what am I going to do? Come up against Pav's 20 All-Australians and his captaincy and his 300, all that stuff. I don't have much to go with that.
So why does Pav want to lean on the backman side?
Because that's all that when I see a spoil, I carry on like a pork chop. But Pav was All-Australian backman. One of those 20 All-Australians was as a backman. And I try to go forward v back on him, and he always goes, I just remember Scully, I used to play in the back line. Couldn't be further from a backman, Matthew Pavlich.
No, and he acts like a forward as well.
Yeah, don't worry, I know, pristine. Collingwood 108 defeat North Melbourne 63, Marvel Stadium. I text you at three-quarter time,
you did,
because we spoke about this on Thursday. I wanted to pick North. I
urge you to pick North.
This is on the same time as Freo Port. So this is how I was going with that under my umbrella. I was checking the scores of the other game. I texted you at three-quarter time of that game, and it was 4 points of difference.
Yeah, and I was thinking, this is because you'll be so dirty because you wanted to pick North last week.
I did,
and I was urging you to go on, show some courage, show some bravado.
And I just said, F you, Skeeter. I think because I was like, if Melbourne get up and win this, I would have been livid. Well, they didn't. Collingwood,
not good enough.
Collingwood went and put 40 points on them in the last quarter and absolutely smoked them. I don't think they scored. Since I sent you that text, I don't think they scored.
They did. How often does that happen? And they got absolutely, you're right, torched in the last quarter against a side that, let's be honest, they've got injuries. Braden Maynard looks like he'll be out for a period of time as well. Yeah. So they've got a few injuries. As the bye, put it this way, will come at a very good time for Collingwood.
So the bye's not this week coming.
No, I'm saying like the next couple of weeks. I'm sure they've got the bye, and they've got some bodies that are, I think, a bit banged up.
Yeah, so they're still 2 weeks away from the bye. I looked at my fantasy last night, and I had no idea the byes were upon us. Did you know that there's byes this week? You know the teams are on byes. Did you know that? Be honest.
To be honest with you, I'd be lucky to know which month it is. It's almost June, but I've lost part of this year.
So coming up, Carlton, North, Port and Bulldogs all got a bye.
This weekend?
Yeah, this weekend. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's well, you know us. We're like footballers. We just look straight. Don't look too far ahead because we don't know what's too far ahead.
Perhaps texted me and said, do you want to work Sunday night? I was like, well, is there a new show on? And he goes, no, there's a game on West Coast Geelong.
Yeah, I knew that. I'm working on that one. Are you going to join us for the first time this year?
I am.
So you and I can sit together and actually talk, as opposed to Wild Water Sports, sit and talk at a game.
So we've got one of the highest scoring sides in the league that was just put 125 on the Bulldogs playing against West Coast. How do you think that's going to go?
No, not great. Nik Cox, now, if he deserves to win a Brownlow, doesn't he? Let's be honest.
Well, he's good enough to win. In front of him of the deserving ranks, in my opinion.
No, I'm saying the last couple of years, he's played some pretty darn good footy. So I don't think anyone would begrudge him from getting 3 votes at the weekend.
No, 38 touches, 12 inside 50s. Big Netty Long had 29 and 14 tackles. He's not
Ned ain't getting past Nick on this one.
That's good. All right, well done, Collingwood. You beat North Melbourne. Who cares? Defeated Sydney 131-78. Where are the Sydney Swans? Well done, well done, Melbourne.
Yeah, and Melbourne, ever since I said they can't kick a score, they just...
they're listening with that.
Rack them up. 130, Cozzy Pickett, another handful of goals. He's a gun, but I think, I was on the bus yesterday talking to someone about the fall-off factor for Port, the fall-off factor for Sydney, and it's real. And this is, unfortunately, I think, what we're seeing from 2 clubs that have been thereabouts and contending, and now...
Can't play finals, Sydney? Can they play finals?
Oh, where are they in the ladder?
They're 13th with 4 wins.
I'm saying no.
2 back.
I'm saying no.
2 back from...
And yesterday, another example of... And we've got to give credit to NAM. What they've done in the past month with the victories they've had and the build they've had. They've now knocked over Brisbane at home, which is significant, and Sydney not so much given their form. But this is a pretty good comeback by the D's.
Cozzy Pickett's had about as big of a game as you could ever have. He's had 24 touches, 5 goals for, so he's had 9 shots on goal. But I still think that Max Gawn is the most informed player in the competition. What do you think about that?
Informed player? Okay.
I just think the difference he makes a game. So he had 21 touches, he kicked a goal, 3 marks, 9 tackles, 35 hit outs.
That's significant.
For the last month, Max Gawn is the most informed player in the comp.
And if you're going to take one player out of Melbourne or out of any side, he's the one that I think I know he's high profile. Sometimes the high profile players aren't those, but he is one that without him, they look a totally different side. So
the chat out of this has been, if Luke Jackson does want to come home, which I put to him after the game, by the way, he gave a very...
Again?
I had a bit of a gag about it. I said, mate, I haven't heard what you're doing with your contract. What's going with your contract and where you're going to be?
There's another 6 years to go, so he's probably just in the vault.
But Cozzy Pickett for Luke Jackson swap, I've seen a bit of this over the weekend that Cozzy Pickett's in front on that. So as in Cozzy Pickett's a better player than Luke Jackson.
Is he in front of him this year? Because Cozzy kicked 5 against the Dockers, won the game, 5 here. Is he in front this year?
I think he's consistently that player.
I'll tell you, Jackson, and we've said it since Darcy's gone down. Since he's gone into the ruck, it just feels like his output, his confidence, he's got the goal he kicked on the boundary line wouldn't have been far from you at the weekend. He's got some real advancement. So I've never said swap Jackson for Cozzy if that was the case. No.
What if Freo got Cozzy? That's the end of the deal. They get Cozzy somehow and they keep Jackson. I feel like that'd be a pretty good deal for Freo.
A massive deal for Freo.
Gold Coast 80 defeated Euroke 61, Marvel Stadium, Sunday Arvo. I didn't see a minute of it.
And I was just in the same boat.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that game. The Suns won.
The Nepo babies got up, which is good.
Yeah, correct. I'll just read stats at you. Manganese Miller had 36 disposals and a goal. Ben Long kicked 3 goals. Gold Coast had 12 more inside 50s and 6 more centre clearances. Suns got out to 29-point lead at half-time, and they won. Shelter Brewing Co. beer. What do you want me to do? I can't talk about that game. You happy?
Well,
something to add?
I make stuff up.
Well, we'll make something up. You tell me how it was. Do you tell us how the game was, mate?
Oh, I thought it was St Kilda challenged them in the third quarter, tried to run them off their feet.
I read
that when I was on the bus on the way back from Lewin yesterday, but didn't happen, and Gold Coast held on and won by 19.
Shelter Brewing Co. You were complaining about the reception down at Lewin.
It wasn't great.
Yeah.
No, but they've got
you obviously couldn't get racing updates.
They got a Wi-Fi thing. No, I had a Wi-Fi thing, so I sorted it out.
A Wi-Fi thing. Do you mean Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi.
Do you mean Wi-Fi?
Yes. Yes.
Shelter Brewing Co. Beer fresh from the Busselton Foreshore. Will Scoville, Mark Renning, Shelter FootyCast. Okay, just a couple of questions and comments. If you want to send them through to the podcast, you can. FootyCast at backchatstudios.com.au. If you're going to do that, or on the YouTube comments, tell us, is the beer better? Is the footy better with Shelter? This week, it is the Export Stout. Go and get yourself some Export Stout at shelterbrewing.com.au. Use the code STOUT20 at checkout. The beers will be on your doorstep before the footy on the weekend. Beautiful. We are announcing the winner of that on Monday, Skeeter. So
next Monday?
Yep.
Next Monday?
Yeah, that's right. You got to watch it, because how are people meant to tell us?
No, I'm just saying.
The footy is better with Shelter if they haven't had the footy with a stout.
No, my question is, I've got to come in here on a public holiday on a Monday.
Is that what it is?
Yes, it is.
All right, you'll be in here. Yeah, that's right. Yep, you'll be in your trackies, your runners.
Yeah,
and
all that sort of stuff.
All right, you run down here. How about you do your run down here?
I walked this morning. It was cold this morning.
You didn't walk here.
No, but I did a 6 and it's cold and it's like it was grim.
Pat Fuller, I would say this is a compliment, maybe. Scully and Skeet are the odd couple we didn't need, we know.
Well, I like that. Why don't you use that as a tagline?
Hang on. I've completely butchered it. Pat Fuller, Scully and Skeet, the odd couple we didn't know we needed.
I like that. Can we use that? Because that's actually not bad. The odd couple. Are we that odd?
Yeah, we're pretty odd. Well, we're like 2 peas in a pod, but like the pod's been split up and then reborn 40 years apart.
40 years? I'm 20 years older than you.
Aren't you 75? Oh, Alex, what?
I'm having you over for dinner on Saturday.
Well, you said you saw the moon landing. Isn't that what the whole point was saying?
In 69 it was, by the way.
Alex Pearce will play for Tasmania. Lock it in from Bon Marriott on YouTube. Alex Pearce will play for Tasmania.
How will Alex Pearce be in 3 years? Is it 3 years?
Is he going to be 33?
Yeah, I'm not sure he's their marquee player, let's be honest.
No, but if he has 3 weeks off this week, he saved the legs a little bit. I don't know how old he is. I can't find it. I don't know. He's not going to be a 5-year player for them. He might go there and be the guy for a year, too.
Possibly. That's happened before.
And last one from Aaron, Liam Baker should be the captain of the Eagles in 2026. What do you say to that?
I think he's shown a lot of attributes in that area. It's very hard for me or anyone outside the club to know what a player brings to the table in terms of him as a leader inside a club. Now, you know Oscar Allen and Liam Duggan far better than I.
Yeah.
And you'd probably, I'd say, give them an endorsement as to their qualities. But are they the best leaders for this team moving forward? That's a decision.
I don't know. I mean, yes, I speak highly of both Liam and Oscar and their leadership attributes. I think they're both good off-field leaders. But I also haven't been at the football club for going on 5 years now. And so basically all I can look at is on-field effort and intensity. And to me, Liam Baker consistently puts that out. Like, you can see the sort of player he is and he's going to be for the time that he's at West Coast. He's just going to be that effort guy. At times he lacks a bit of polish. Like, I don't think he's Nazaya Wanganeen Miller a kick. but his effort is right up there with the best in the comp. So that's the sort of guy that, that would make sense from an on-field captaincy sort of role. I don't know if that'll happen. Clearly I don't think it's gone very well for Oscar this year. And he's spoken about that publicly. I think it's added pressure to the mental side of the game for Oscar. So we'll see what plays out there. I wouldn't be advocating for an immediate change, but we'll see what
Next
happens.
year they'll have a look at it. Just quickly before we go, also mid-season draft on Wednesday. Some of the local players, Michael Selwood, a young guy, Archer May at Subiaco. Selwood, of course, Peel Thunder Premiership player. You might have heard of him. Archer May, Brandon Parfitt, more of the senior, 27 years of age.
What about the lad, Milan Murdoch? Is he going to?
Milan's winning Simpson medals. Look, you know what? He gets so much of the footy in the waffle. His size is an issue. Guess what? Darcy Jones's size was an issue.
Liam Baker's pretty small.
Exactly. No. So these are the types of players. Who knows? But that's going to be interesting on Wednesday for these guys that are putting their hand up. There could be a heap of players taken in the draft. Conversely, in WA, it's always a question mark as to what is needed. But we'll chat about that on Thursday.
You'll be here, will you? Public holiday. No, Monday. Sorry.
It's Thursday, yeah. Sorry. Thursday, we've got footy.
I get confused with my days of the week.
Yeah, so Monday is the WA Day public holiday. William?
Look forward to it. What do we celebrate there?
The fact that we're in the greatest state in the best country in the world.
Well, stock up with some stouts then. shelterbrewing.com.au. Go buy them. Stout 20 at checkout. That is us done and dusted. Have a good weekend. Week.